Hey guys, okay, I just wanted to talk about. I was just meditating and something came up for me, and now this specific item in my world um, is important to me. So, in Romans 8 came up for me personally, and it was talking about God's victory over us, overwhelming victory. So, how did we really deal with that? I don't know. Some people kind of like lose themselves and they're on negativity and stuff. So for me personally, the future glory, and it says from Romans 8:18 to it's quite long verse, but I'll read a little bit to you guys, and it says, I consider that what we suffer at this present time cannot be compared at all with the glory that is going to be revealed to us. All of creation was the eager longing for God to reveal his children, for creation was condemned to lose its purpose, not for its own will. So our own whatever it is God's. It's not ours. It never was meant to be for us. We're being selfish and looking for our own desires. But because God is willed, it will be so. Yet there was the hope, and the creation itself would one day be set free from its slavery to decay and would share the glorious freedom of the children of God. Because when we do get in that position, we end up feeling God's mercy and grace. Like recently, for the last few days, I've been feeling his glorious victory around me, his mercy and grace. Now, when he does that, it feels like he's bringing me in closer to him. I'm feeling his compassion more. I'm feeling freedom. I'm feeling peace, more peace and acceptance of my situation. And then once I do that, then it becomes more intense with God because his glory shows through me. For we know that up to the present time of all glory, creation groans with pain, like pain of childbirth. But it's not just the creation alone which groans. We who have the Spirit as the first of God's gifts also groans within ourselves, as we wait for God to make his children and set our whole being free. So when we go through our own suffering, our own difficulties, that's when his glory shines. I went through something traumatic, and I had to see his glory. I had to see his mercy through me, and it was sad to let go of my past, my experiences, and it was challenging. It was really challenging because it hurt. It really did hurt. But God gave me the peace and his glory and mercy and hope that I will move on and find someone else in my life that will give me what I want, instead of actually going for someone who's desperate, who's needy, who's, has children already and has issues. Why go there? You're better than that, really, speaking the truth. So our groans are like emotional pain that we've experienced on this earth. And so we end up complaining, moaning and groaning about it, things like that. And God actually sets us free from it. So we actually release. This is when gratitude comes into it. That's why I have gratitude journals from Awesome in Sync. I'll have the link down below in this description box. But for this one, for we know that up to the present time of all creation groans with pain, like pain of childbirth, but it is not just creation alone with which groans. We who have the Spirit as the first of God's gift also groans within ourselves as we wait for God to make us his children and set us whole being free, for it was by hope that we were saved. But if we see what we are hoped for, and it is not really hope, then what are we looking for? So if we're not really having faith, then God won't see you as his child. You know, what's the point having faith if we can't? What's the point trying to see when really that's what faith is, and that's what hope is, because we put our trust in something spiritual, and that's when the magic happens. I had an injury many months ago last year, and my knees, I couldn't walk properly at all. I couldn't walk, and there was a possible chance that the muscle underneath the joint was ripped, and yep, I did a pretty good job of it, and they were considering possibly surgery. And well, after I had a really interesting impact, I was reading a book and I had some serious physical healing, and that was God doing that. And he actually physically healed me in a more intense way than I really expected. So God really gave me the courage to do that. And he set me free from the pain, really. I was in so much pain daily, and I couldn't walk, and it was frustrating. But within minutes, I started to be able to walk. I felt this tingling sensation in those areas, and I was able to walk. I was free from the pain. And so, for which of us hopes for something we see? But if we hope for what we do not see, we wait for it with patience. So that's what faith is. If you are a spiritual person, waiting for something spiritual to happen is like magic. It feels amazing. And a lot of people don't see it the same way. In the same way, the Spirit also comes to help us. Weak as we are, which is true, when we have difficult situations we can't get out of, but he comes for the most weirdest reasons. I had a home that was damp and moldy, and you know what? He gave me a new home, and I was free from the horrible pain and suffering that I had to deal with. And financially, I was not able to deal with it. For we do not know how we ought to pray, but the Spirit himself pleads with God for us in groans that words cannot express, and God, who sees into our hearts, knows that the Spirit out though to the Spirit is, because the Spirit pleads with God on behalf of his people, and in accordance to his will. We know that all things God works for good with those who love him, those whom he called according to his purpose, and those whom God has already chosen, he also set apart, become like his Son, so that the Son would be the eldest brother in a large family, and those whom God set apart, he called. Those he called, he put right with himself, and he shared his glory with them. And that's what I experienced, having his mercy and glory like that. Purely amazing. I am a part of his family for a reason. He's put me in this position to be a part of him. And you know what? He actually gave me a job in helping people spiritually. And I have helped many people with depression. That's why CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, is basically a way for people to release their anxiety and fears and doubt and everything else in between. That's positive thinking. Positive thinking behavioral thing is important. How else are we meant to change our thoughts, our behaviors, if we don't do it ourselves? No drug will ever change that unless you do the work yourself. You actually work on it. You do what is right for you. You think positive, and that will set you free. God's freedom is real. Take on His glorious mercy and grace. Be kind to someone. Say something nice to them or something, and that will make you feel good. And you have a gratitude journal. That is an important part every day. I wake up 5:45 in the morning, and here I am, up and going, and actually just writing things down and saying, I am. Who am I? Through the power of Christ, I am rejoiceful, happy, role model, whatever. I just write that down, and that is powerful. That is God working in me. That is God's way of saying, hey, you be a role model for these people. And that's what I want you guys to do, is be a role model. Even children. I've had a 4-year-old come and stay with me, and she is so smart, extremely smart. And you know what? She knows every move I make, She is onto it. And she actually is a spiritual being. She knows so much about the spiritual world. It amazes my mind. Mind-blowing. And she is so intelligent for who she is today. That's a blessing. But when she gets to the point of out of control, little Miss Control Freak, she likes to have control. And of course, she likes things her way. Especially when it comes to food, what I'm talking about, parents? And that drove me up the wall, and I was like, oh my gosh. And my brother was not doing anything until, somebody had to say something. It's like, dude, do something, unless you want me to do the parenting. So, we have these situations in life. God called me to do something for somebody else. I know enough to do parenting skills. I've learnt. It's called actually learning. If you don't learn, what's the point? Experience is such an important part in helping someone with their children. They need discipline. Discipline is important. God disciplines us just as much. So you think about that. So today I will leave you with this, and I will carry on with my day, and I'm going to the local market to get some vegetables and fruit. So I will see you all later. Mwah.